week. You know what that means. Week 9 of the NFL season, which means another episode of the Frisky, Risky Betting and Fantasy Podcast with your host, Tyler Zajac, and of course, the man with the money, the bets, Willy P, who's got more in store for you today. Will, it has been a pretty fun week of sports, man. I don't know if you saw, we did have the sports eclipse, I think they were calling it, or whatever.
Equinox. Yeah.
Or the Equinox.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. That makes sense. Where all 5 major league sports played on the same day on Monday. And now we're gearing up for some more NFL games this week. We got some good ones on the docket, which will make for a fun pick'em. I was going through them,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, I think we're gonna have some differences this week."
I think
A
we are
few
too.
different.
I kind of got a little frisky this week because we didn't do. I don't. What did we end up with our pick'em record? Did we tie again?
Last week, no. Your boy
Damn it!
came out on top
Damn it!
with a Hail Mary
Oh, that's.
throw from Jaden Daniels to
I
give me the win, which
didn't
you
realize that was
love
for
to
the win.
see, ladies and
God
gentlemen.
damn it!
You
I
love
didn't
to
because you
see.
texted me that, and I was like, okay, we're probably gonna tie. We'll go to like a tiebreaker, but I didn't realize that was for the win. God damn it, Jaden Daniels. That
Yeah, and you still had a chance even because Dallas had a chance at the end, but my
I don't
God,
know
did
why I thought the
Dak
Cowboys
Prescott
would
look
figure it out.
horrendous.
It's so stupid. And Watson.
What an absolute brutal game. What is just a brutal team right now, to be honest.
They're
That is just bad to watch.
ugh. And of course they
But
play the Falcons this week, and will already tell you I'm taking the Falcons, and the Falcons are going to do what they've done to us all year and just burn the shit out of us. I swear.
I took the Falcons though too. So at least we'll be on the same
Yeah.
page for that one.
Anyway,
Um, but listen, we got a lot going down in the NFL.
mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson benched for Joe Flacco, the 6'6" machine, coming back. Yeah, he's 6'6". I don't know if you knew
I
that,
did
but
not know that. That's wild.
yeah, he is a fucking tall guy.
Yeah,
And so excited for that. We got, of course, some big trades. Deontay Johnson, who's on your fantasy squad, going to the Ravens. So we should be able to get him a few more catches, perhaps. So for fantasy owners, they should be pretty pumped about that. Well, let's get right into it with the spread in Moneyline picks of the week. Willie P, let us know what you got.
I'm going to just start off with the riskiest play of arguably the NFL season, and
Okay.
mainly because it's on Thursday night football on Halloween. For the people that don't believe that the NFL is scripted, I think this is their clearest case of how it is. We have the freaking Houston Texans going on the road to play the Jets on Thursday night football.
Jets favored.
Jets are favored. I'm taking the Texans on the money line. And the big reason
Minus Stephon Diggs.
minus Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, which is scary. That's why could be the friskiest bet I've ever told you guys, because I just can't put any hard-earned money, or want the viewers to put any of their hard-earned money on the New York Jets. We've seen what they've done all year. They've traded for Devontae Adams. They're freaking terrible. But if they're going to win any game, it might be the Halloween Thursday night when they're favored against a very good Houston Texans team. That being said, give me the Houston Texans at plus money. As I just said, the Jets are terrible. The big thing, obviously, is C.J. Stroud has been struggling a little bit as of late. I don't really know what's been going on. I mean, I think he's just kind of finding his rhythm. And obviously not having his favorite target in Nico Collins has been a big deal. And now losing Stephon Diggs for the rest of the year also does not help his case. But again, I cannot bet against the Houston Texans or any team that is playing the New York Jets. So give me the Houston Texans on a spooky, spooky money line on Halloween night in the Meadowlands.
I love it. I will not be taking that bet because you will see in the pick 'em. I took the Jets.
No way.
I took the Jets, my man, and here's why. For first of all, the reasons that you stated, I think CJ Stroud has been struggling.
Yeah.
I think not having his two big receivers now. Yes, he still has Tank Dell. You still have Mixon in the backfield,
Yeah.
huge. But the Jets defense, I think, is due to have a good stand. The Jets are at home. Aaron Rodgers is been hearing a lot of crap if he gets on social media at all
Hmm.
about how he needs to stop blaming others and he needs to blame himself. I think he's going to take it to heart. I think he's going to come out. I think they're going to have a good game. I think Devontae Adams has had a little bit of time now
Hmm.
to understand that offense. So I'm going to take the Jets in that game, but uh, it is honestly it's risky on either side with
They could
with
tie.
both of those teams.
If anything,
So
they're gonna tie, and it's gonna be the spookiest game you've ever seen. Just one, because it's Thursday night football, and we all know those games are normally not very good. And two,
yep.
it's the New York Jets on prime time, and
Give me a low scoring Jets squeak out win
little
tomorrow
under
night.
with Jets money line that could be spicy. I'll look up what the odds are if you put that in a little two legger and get back to you on that. But I bet that's
Put that in
probably
the
close to plus
newsletter.
200.
Look out for the newsletter tomorrow. Might have a little something in there
Little
for you.
something spooky, spicy, something nice. That being said, my next one, some people might be a little worried about this pick. I'm not at all, mainly because Jordan Love is injured, and it sounds like Malik Willis is going to be stepping in under center again. I'm going to ride the hot hand, as you know I love to do every week, and I'm taking the Lions on the spread -3.5 on the road, going to Lambeau. Biggest reason why I'm taking this again is what I just said. Jordan Love sounds like he's not going to play. Malik Willis is going to be their starter. Obviously, the Lions have just been an absolute wagon. They went into Minnesota 2 weeks ago and beat them in Minnesota. Granted, it was off a walk-off field goal, but I do love the Lions to win by 4 or more against a Packers team that is very good, and it looks like a very good team this year. But I just don't think Malik Willis is going to be able to handle the Lions defense and honestly match that offense score for score.
Yeah, so I like that bet, and I like that bet either way, if Jordan Love plays or
Yeah.
not, to be honest with you. I don't know if he will play. I did see he said that his groin was feeling better, and
Mm-hmm.
they asked him if it was realistic that he could possibly play, and he did say, "I do think it is realistic." I also saw something. I believe it was Schefter who thought he would play this weekend, but that doesn't mean that he will. So it's still we got to see how his
Mm-hmm.
practice goes. I mean, this is it's Wednesday right now,
Mm-hmm.
so we got a couple more days of practice before we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even if he plays, the Detroit Lions are on a tear right now. I mean, that team looks so good. And I know they can have a bad game. And I know that's in division and there's going to be some things that play into it. But if the Detroit Lions play like they've been playing,
No problem.
Green Bay has no shot. And now Jair Alexander, he dodged a bullet with that knee injury
Mm-hmm.
that he went last game. He didn't on that last play. He MRI showed that there was no, huge structural damage or anything. So he could play, but he might be a step behind.
Mm-hmm.
He might not be that normal Jair Alexander that we're used to seeing out there. And he may not even play. So we're going to have to see that
Mm-hmm.
too. I mean, those are two key guys on both sides of the ball for Green Bay that are kind of up in the air right now, which I think can play into this. And another reason I love that bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Lions, man. I mean, they looked like a team of destiny last year in some sense, but this year, man, the fact that Dan Campbell is not gambling away their fourth downs, and man,
Locked in.
I'm trying not to get too excited because I really hope the Lions can do it this year, and I think
Because it's the
obviously,
Detroit Lions and they always seem somehow to like ruin it, but
dude, yeah, they're
could be.
cursed. I
Could
swear,
be.
but you never know.
I also want to see if Hutchinson can come back if they make the Super Bowl.
That'd be
There's a chance
wild.
he comes back if they could make it all the way to the Super Bowl, which would be pretty sick. I
Medical
was just gonna
marvel,
throw that out
honestly.
there.
Yeah, that would be crazy. What else is kind of crazy to me is the LA Rams are it's pretty much a pick 'em in Seattle this weekend, but I'm taking the Rams on the money line. At least when I saw it last night, it was -122. I wouldn't be surprised if that line has been moving throughout the day, and it will move throughout the week until Sunday. I don't know why this game is a pick 'em. In all honesty with you, as we were talking about right before we went on air, the Rams offense looks revitalized now that they have their wide receiver 1 and 2 back in Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup. They obviously beat the Lions last week on prime time, and many people were, they hammered Vikings spread. And what do you know? Vegas knew that, and Vegas always wins. So either way, I love the Rams on the road in Seattle. We've talked about it multiple times on this show this year. Seahawks are good, and then they're bad, and then they're good, and then they're bad. They're too hot and cold for me still. I love the way the Rams' offense is trending. Obviously, their defense isn't the best, but I again cannot put my money on a Seattle Seahawks team that is way too hot and cold. That just doesn't seem to have any identity on offense.
Yeah, my guess is that it's more of a pick 'em because I think DK will be back this week from his
Oh, true.
MCL. It does seem like he's going to come back. At least the team said they were optimistic he would be on the field. But with that, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the Rams look like they got a little bit of pop in their
Yeah, they
step
got some
again.
swagger back for sure.
You get Stafford some weapons,
Yeah.
and he's likely to dice up your defense. And Seattle hasn't shown me anything that makes me want to jump on their bandwagon right now. Like you said, very inconsistent,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little nerve wracking when you're a better. So yeah, I gotta take the Rams on this one.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where that line will end up. If it will maybe get to like a 2.5 in favor of the Rams, or if they'll keep it tight. So we'll
Yeah,
see. I don't know. I always love it's always fun watching to see how lines move, and obviously a lot of that is from people putting money on certain lines, but it's interesting. It's flipped, so we'll see. Um, yeah, and honestly, my first trend for our next segment, since we always like to do trends for Week 9, this one plays perfectly into the Thursday night game for tomorrow night. The Texans are 6-2 straight up, and 3-5 against the spread this year. So obviously they haven't been covering spreads very well, but they've obviously, if you just take them on the money line, they've been playing very well. They did not cover this past week against Indianapolis, where they were they were a 4.5 point favorite, and they only won by 3. So they should have honestly won that game by more. But divisional games, that happens, especially on the road. And by them not covering, they were a 5 point favorite. By not covering that 4.5 points against the Colts, they ended a 3-0 streak against the spread, actually, which is wild. So they started the year 0-5 against the spread, if you can believe that. But they are now 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games. So just give kind of people the trend here. Obviously, is take the Texans on the money line. Don't take them on the spread, because they do not like to cover spreads. So just keep that in mind for later down the year, especially once we're getting closer to kind of more garbage games once they get closer to the playoffs. Don't if you see the
yeah.
Texans at a -5.5. Don't even touch it. Just stay away.
Did you speaking of trends? Did you see the trend that Pittsburgh Steelers hadn't lost a Monday Night Football home game since '92, and they kept the streak alive?
Yep, it was in my what was that, Monday Night Football? Yeah, it was in my Monday Night Football primetime player props video for our
Oh, there you
Instagram.
go,
But
dude.
dude,
Absolute.
that's Mike Tomlin. If he keeps doing what he's doing, man, and when he retires doesn't have a losing record, I think he might be a top 3 coach of all time. I mean, that's just outrageous, dude. Since '92, like,
They
come
get that guy a
on,
few more weapons, man.
dude,
Should have
come
a couple more
on,
Super
like.
Bowls under the belt.
Dude, that's the thing too, and the way that he gets those players to buy in for just winning ugly it's a marvel.
That's true Steelers way.
It's a beautiful thing, man. That's just football. That's all they do down there in Pittsburgh. They pound steel and play just good old hard nosed football, and I love it.
Oh
But
yeah.
anyway, next trend, big one. The Commanders are 6-2 straight up and 6-1-1 against the spread this year. I mean, they helped you win off that Hail Mary, and I think that helped them cover the spread, because I think it was 2.5 last week. They play the Giants this week, and the Giants are 2-6 straight up and 3-5 against the spread. Um, and they have, and the Giants have lost the last 4 out of 5 games they've played. Um,
Duh.
so that's always good. And in that streak, they are
That's
one,
all.
3-1 against the spread heading into Week 9. So maybe it's a nice little Commanders spread this week, is what that sounds like, because the Giants don't like to cover. So I think the last spread they covered was against Seattle in Seattle, when they blocked that field goal and took it back for a touchdown to cover. Well, they won outright, but either way. So, yeah, trend there. Don't bet the Giants ever.
Don't ever bet the
Don't
Giants
ever
right
bet
now.
the Giants.
They
It's like the
just look
Jets. That's why I think
terrible.
it's funny you took the Jets. Like, there's that classic meme from what show was that? I think it was Shameless, or no, it was the one with Pete Davidson. But oh, I'm gonna win it all back. I bet it on the Jets. And he's like, don't you know nobody ever bets on the Jets? He's like, why? He's like, because they're terrible. So we'll see how it goes
You just
tomorrow night
wait.
for you.
You just wait.
I believe it, dude. If it is gonna be their one bounce back game of the year, it would be on Halloween, and Aaron Rodgers is gonna summon some spirits from the darkness and turn into 2012 Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't be
Oh
surprised at
yeah,
all. I
dude.
wouldn't be surprised at all. But the next big spread of the week, or excuse me, spread trend of the week. Cowboys are going on the road to play the Falcons. The Cowboys are 3-4 straight up, and 3-4 straight up, and 3-4 against the spread. They're terrible, as we know. They did not cover against the 49ers in Week 8. The Falcons, on the other hand, are 5-3 straight up and 4-4 against the spread. Falcons have been kind of a weird.
Yeah, neither one. Both of them are kind of
Yeah,
even
no,
there.
it's been weird this year with the Falcons because they'll like cover on like a primetime game, and then they have a weird like early morning game against a terrible team, and they just can't even. Like, I think it was against the Seahawks a couple weeks ago. They got just pounded by the Seahawks at home, and everybody was like, "What is going on?" But the big thing with the Falcons is they're on a 4-1 straight up streak, so they're on a nice little win streak there, and they're 2.5 point favorites against the Cowboys. I would honestly take the Falcons on the spread just because I'm sure the money line is probably going to be somewhere around minus 140, 150. It's not terrible, but you definitely need to risk more to make that payout look a little nicer than what you would normally wager.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that big one is a weird game, but don't take the Cowboys. Just don't do it. They're just so
Just don't bet on that game,
just
man.
don't
That
bet
game
on.
is
Yeah,
such
that
a
game is garbage.
that's a pick 'em.
Yeah,
That's a who decides to show up type game.
yeah, yeah.
Brutal.
So yeah, those are the three big trends for the week. Obviously, the Texans one stand out to me the most, given that they're underdogs. But they also trends don't take into account when you don't have your wide receiver 1 or 2. So keep that in mind.
That's true. So keep in mind the trends, but look at a little everything. We're just here to give you
All
all
the
of the
info.
data so that you can make some good decisions. But with that, we move to the fantasy must starts where we take in all the data, and sometimes it goes our way and sometimes it doesn't. Last week, I crushed it on my fantasy pick'ems. This week, the ones who played last week, I did not. My two last week were Jordan Mason, who got hurt, re-aggravated that shoulder, which he maybe, according to Kyle Shanahan, could have gone back in, but they chose not to, which was really awesome for my fantasy team. And now I don't really know why they chose not to because now they have a bye week. And then rumor has it, rumor on the street is that we are going to see CMC after this bye week. So if that is the case, Jordan Mason's usage is about to plummet anyway. So why not play him if he could go back in?
I know.
But maybe they don't trust that CMC is going to stay healthy and they need to make sure that he gets healthy. But in that case, why play him in the first place?
Yeah,
Kind of weird to
dude,
me.
the Niners, just the way they handle injuries is so heinous to me. I just don't understand.
Either the team's made of glass or they need to have some big changes to how they're handling them
Dude,
because
it's just
it's
like,
just re-aggravation central over
yeah,
there.
who's making those
Um,
calls? Like, come on.
it's it's badness. It's bad to watch. It's hard to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, like
Uh,
yeah. Anyway,
and then I had DJ Moore, who had 2 receptions for 27
God,
yards,
dude.
uh, in a game that he really should have had way more.
Oh,
So that was brutal. So we're gonna get back on the horse this
dude,
week.
I have Lester
We're
tight
gonna
end Joku, who had caught a touchdown, National Tight End Day. Also, I do this every freaking year, Tyler.
lock in.
I just freaking I always forget that it's freaking National Tight Ends Day on like week 8, and then all of a sudden people are just sending slips out on social media of like 8-leg touchdown scores, all tight ends, and they're making a gajillion dollars, and I'm like, God
Yeah.
damn it, dude. So I thankfully got smart and put a nice little bit of money on George Kittle on that Sunday night game, and he hit, and I was like, thank God, because he is
There you
obviously
go.
the tight end of National Tight Ends Day, but. I gotta just I put a reminder in my phone. I was like, don't forget about National Tight Ends Day next year because it is like one of the most profitable day for NFL sports bettors. I swear it's crazy, dude. Like you had tight ends
Got to
you
get
never
him the
even
ball.
heard of scoring touchdowns. Cade Otton had a day And I swear to
I'll
God,
tell
if
you
it
who
wasn't,
didn't on tight ends day.
dude,
Cole
if it wasn't
Kmet,
tight
dude.
ends day, he wouldn't have gotten the end zone. It's something weird, dude. I swear to God, it's so funny. But I had Njoku scored on tight ends day, and then who was my other one? Goff. Yeah, Goff continues to just roll. That dude could.
I
They're
mean,
saying
you
he could
go
be
with
the
Goff here.
MVP, and I believe it, dude. I mean, yeah, he's not doing stuff like Lamar where he's running, 75 plus yards a game, but there's got to be something. Something's got to be said for missing 2 throws a game consistently, or even less. You know what I mean? Like that dude is.
Oh yeah,
That offense
he's
is
crushing it right now, dude. He's seeing everything.
seeing everything, dude, and he's still just like such a. He's such a nonchalant guy. He's so funny to me. I feel like he's always like stoned, and I'm like, no, he's just who he is. He's always been
That's
that
who
way.
he is, dude. It's ice in his veins, man. He's
Dude,
just chill. He's ready to
dude, I
go.
get it.
Ready to go. That's what you
That's
need.
why I dressed
You
up
don't want
like
a guy
Ricky
who's
Bobby.
twitchy.
Now,
You don't want a twitcher.
yeah, and that's why I dressed up like Ricky. I don't know if you saw his Halloween costume, but he dressed up like Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights, and I was like, "That's awesome.
Yep.
That's like the best thing I've ever seen." Um.
Well, if you're
Anyway,
not first, you're last.
yeah.
So, well, let me start us off here on this week because I'm gonna get a little comeback this week. We're gonna get some must play players. This first guy, I already said it. Joe Flacco's back. So give me Josh Downs.
Oh, okay.
Give
Okay.
me
Oh man, I
Josh
thought you were gonna
Downs
say Flacco.
versus Minnesota this week. A must play. When Joe Flacco was the quarterback, when Anthony Richardson was out, Downs had 22, 15.9, and 19.5 over week 4, 5, and 6. Anthony Richardson came back and he had 1 point something.
Hmm.
Then last week, Anthony Richardson obviously played, but he came back had 22. So he's starting to make his mark a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more. But when Flacco's in there, he's looking for him. He's finding him open. We know Flacco can throw that thing pure. Vikings are 18th in total defense, 30th in pass defense, and 24th in red zone defense. So I like Downs going for give me at least 70, 80 yards and a touchdown. If he can get more, if he can get over 100, I love it. If he can get more than one touchdown, I love it. But if he can give me 70 to 80 and a touchdown,
No problem.
I love it for the fantasy team. I think
Yeah.
most people won't have him in a wide receiver 1 position, but they might be throwing him in a flex. And I think he could definitely help this week in that flex. So I'm going Josh Downs.
I love that. Yeah, Josh Downs is he's a great player, and we've all kind of been waiting for him. I feel like all year to kind of do what he did last week, and I feel like you said, everything you said. But I agree with it. I think he's kind of finding his rhythm, which is good. And obviously, AR-15 is not a rhythm guy for that team. So hopefully Flacco can just
God.
stay the guy for the rest of the year.
Dude, the NFL is easier than college, though.
It is. Yeah, that's why they pay so much in the NFL and not in college. It's crazy. That being said, I talked about it earlier with the Rams, but my must start this week, Puka Nacua. Love Puka. Have him on my team. He was my first pick in a 12-man league this year. Obviously, he burned me pretty good by getting hurt. Not actually his fault. He didn't burn me. Things happen. But he obviously missed first 7 weeks. This past week on Thursday Night Football, he had 7 catches on 9 targets for 106 yards, which equated to 18.1 PPR points if you play PPR. I'm sure if you watched the game, he was all over the place. They were doing design runs for him, stuff like that. I mean, he was just eating targets. We were talking about it earlier before the show. It does seem like he kind of flip flops who gets the more action each week between him and Cooper Kupp. That is the one thing that worries me a little bit about Puka Nacua, but as you saw last week, he is just a target machine for that offense. It seems like Sean McVay really likes to get the ball into his hands, at least look at him, which helps with production. So I think it's a no-brainer that you start Puka. And if he doesn't get in the end zone, that's okay. I still think he's good for at least 12 to 15 fantasy points, and that's really all you can ask for from a wide receiver. 2, maybe if he's your wide receiver 1, you'd want a little bit more, but even 15 points is pretty solid. So, and who knows, he might find his way into the end zone. But I think just purely based off volume and how Sean McVay used him last week, you got to play him. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Like you said, I think the targets alone is what makes him, great to have. Even if he's good for 8 targets, probably more.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly,
Mhm.
probably 10 to 12.
Mhm.
But you give him 8 targets and he catches 6 in plus yards, plus maybe a touchdown, and I
Who
mean, you're there.
cares?
So,
Yeah.
uh, you gotta love how that offense works, with him and Cup.
Mhm.
I mean, they're just target machines. So, uh, Stafford, I mean, the guy
Gunslinger.
is I mean, he's just great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that pick.
Yeah.
I hope they go to cut more because he's on my fantasy
Yeah.
team.
This is
But
the
hey,
the
we were
dichotomy.
talking about it earlier. Like, give one of them all the catches down the field, targets and catches, and the other one just give them the touchdown.
Yeah.
So they both get 16 plus,
Yep.
and we're cool
Then
with
we're
that.
both
We'll
happy.
take that all
Yeah.
day. Take that all day. Well, I think you're gonna like my next pick. Um, Originally, I was going to pick Calvin Ridley. But then
Hmm.
with Hopkins gone, and he had a lot of targets this past
He
week.
did.
However, I looked at him like, wait, they're playing New England. He's really their guy now, which means Christian Gonzalez, is going to be all over him. So I don't love it. So I kept looking, kept took out the magnifying glass, kept scouring, and I'll tell you who I like this week. Give me Cortland Sutton
No way.
for the Denver Broncos. And I am not a Bo Nix fan at
I
all,
know,
by
which
the
is so
way.
funny. He's a
Um,
dog.
but they're playing Baltimore, and I think that they need Sutton
Mhm.
if they have any chance of staying in that game. Baltimore is coming off of a loss to the Browns of all teams. So they are going to be looking to make a statement, I think, after that loss. That's not a good loss. We know that. Um, so to me, one or two things are going to happen. Either Denver needs Cortland Sutton to stay in that game, or they're going to be down and they're
Mhm.
going to need to throw the ball to catch back up. And Cortland Sutton is that guy for
Mhm.
them. Uh, the other thing that he has in his favor, and we've talked about this a lot on this show, is the Baltimore secondary is the shakiest part of that defense.
100%.
Uh, they are currently last in passing defense, in fact, in the NFL, and they are 26th in scoring defense, allowed scoring defense, and 29th in third down defense. So that is a bad stat and a great stat if you're Cortland Sutton. So
Mhm.
I think Denver has to take advantage of that to stay with this Baltimore team. Um, Sutton had a terrible game 2 games ago.
Mhm.
He had 0 targets, I think,
Mhm.
which is like unheard of. Last week he bounced back, 8
Mhm.
receptions, 100 yards. So it shows how important he is to that team. And I like him to go off this week to help that team to help your team try to stay with the
I
Baltimore
mean, I
Ravens.
was I was at that game on Sunday when we beat down on the Panthers as we should. Thank God. Bo Nix had a career day, which is not saying much against a terrible team, the Panthers. But it's still he's leading all rookies in the month of October in every stat you could. So that just keep that in mind. But yes, I got to see Cortland Sutton perform and get those 8 catches for 100 yards in person. That dude is obviously our clear cut wide receiver one. I would say he's wide receiver 1 and 2 for the Denver Broncos. The way little Jordan Humphrey can't catch a ball to save his life, and the way we don't use Marvin Mims the way we should. I agree with everything you said. I personally believe the Ravens are going to come out pissed off and kick us in the teeth. So it further plays into what you were saying of we're going to need to throw the ball a lot. Sutton's a great deep ball threat. He's just our best threat in general on that offense. I think his volume alone, he should. I would be shocked if he didn't get over 10 targets on Sunday. I mean, he's going to have to, like you said, if we're going to even be relatively in that game. And yeah, hopefully our defense can keep us in it. But I think again we're going to just be getting blown out because Lamar Jackson's going to come out and put on a masterclass since he just lost to Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns. So that being said, too,
We're going to see what happens.
who do the Browns play this week? Do they play this week?
Yeah, they play the Chargers.
Don't take the Chargers. I'm telling everybody right now. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, super high on Jameis Winston." He does this every year. He goes to a new team. Something happens as a quarterback. He comes in, wins his first start, and then falls off a cliff. Love Jameis Winston, the most genuine, inspirational dude the NFL's ever seen. but he's not an NFL quarterback. That's just the goddamn truth. So take the Chargers. Anyway, I like what you said. Going into my second must start, he's actually a Colorado State kid, which is crazy. Dude's been an absolute menace for the tight end position, and that's Trey McBride of the Arizona Cardinals. This dude has been just an absolute workhorse for them and a pretty honestly shaky Cardinals team. It's pretty funny that a lot of people coming into this NFL season were kind of predicting the Cardinals to be a little bit of a dark horse, it seems like, in the NFC West. Not terrible. They're 500.
Kind of like this right
That's
now.
what I
They're
mean. Like, they're
just
not terrible. They could be a lot worse. The fact that they're 500, I'm pretty shocked about. But a big reason is because of this guy at tight end. He's tight end number 3 right now in PPR, and Trey McBride. Week 1, he had 8 points. Week 2, he had 18.7. Week 3, he had 5. Week 4, he did not play because he was hurt. And then week 5, 11.3. Week 6, 17.6. Week 7, 10.1. And week 8, 21.4. So since his injury, he's averaging double-digit points in fantasy. The dude, he's easily the favorite target for Kyler Murray, and is a great safety valve for them. He's also just athletic as heck. He hurdled a defender this past weekend. He's averaging 8 targets this season through 8 games, so that alone for a tight end is pretty remarkable. So I think it's a no-brainer that you start Trey McBride this week, and honestly moving forward for the rest of the season, if you haven't already, because he's been having a great career season for sure.
yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean the Cardinals, and you'll see I picked them to beat Chicago. I don't know if you did in the pick 'em, which we're about
I
to get
did.
into, but so I like that pick. I think they're going to figure it out here this week again. That team, like you said, they're a little up and down, but
Mm-hmm.
they're finding ways to win games that even games that maybe they shouldn't. So uh, we will see what happens. I like it though. I like McBride. Well, with that, we move to our pick'ems now. We still have to get we still haven't figured out their full record. However, you had me the last 2 weeks. Last week, I came in with a Hail Mary play to take the dub. So we move to week 9. Now, we're going to go through each game. As you know, if you listen, we go through each game. We give reasons for some. Some are pretty obvious why we picked.
Mm-hmm.
So we just roll through those. There are 2 teams with a bye week this week, San Francisco and Pittsburgh. They can use this week to
Yeah.
relax, get a little healthier,
Yep.
especially for the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe they could get a guy back who, some people picked up on fantasy and have wanted to play all season. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we will see what they
The
do.
offensive player of the year. Oh, that's crazy. The guy on the Madden
Oh,
cover.
weird.
Oh, it's not
Weird.
cursed. Oh, it's a curse. I never
Yeah,
want
it's
to hear that
cursed.
again. It's a fucking.
It's cursed. Well, let's jump right in. We're going to start with Thursday, which we already know we have differences
Yep.
in.
It's already
I am
circled it in red.
taking
Let's go.
I am taking the green. I think I even have my Jets green on. I sure do. Underneath
I
the
sure
sweatshirt.
did.
So give me the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers to connect with Devontae Adams for a touchdown too. I'm going to throw that in for you
Oh
for free.
wow.
Uh,
Oh wow. Oh wow.
to beat the Houston Texans in New York. But you're taking Houston.
I am taking Houston. I am. I can already tell right now too. I'm going to see it from all the betting pages that are on social media. They're gonna like either the second or most bet player prop tomorrow night. I already know it. It's either going to be Joe Mixon anytime or Devontae Adams, and I guarantee it. It probably already is, just because they're like, oh, it's Halloween. What's spooky? 31-year-old Devontae Adams getting in the end zone, and the Jets beat the Texans. I can
You know what's
already.
spooky is anyone on the Jets getting in the end zone.
Roger
So.
Goodell's probably tuning into this right now. He's like calling his script writers. We got to change the script. They're on to us. Like I swear to God.
Dude, Garrett Wilson's gonna have 2 tubs. Watch it.
I
He's
hope
gonna come
not.
out.
I traded him for Brian Robinson in the league, and Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jags, and he's been doing great. But now he might be out for a couple of weeks, and I'm like,
He's
fuck.
got the chest injury. We'll see what happens. I heard that he may be out, but he may also be able to play. So we're gonna have to see
I'd
with practice
love
how he
for him to play
practices.
because he's scored a touchdown. What I told you in the show last week.
Yeah, I had Christian Kirk, and he's been terrible, and now he's out for the season.
Yeah,
So dropped him.
yeah. Anyway, Broncos Ravens. Who you taking? I took the Ravens.
Whoa, you skipped down on me here. I'm taking the Ravens to come
I'm
out
taking
and
the Ravens, and that's my team.
get back
Yeah. Oh yeah.
here. Atlanta, Dallas, we talked about a little bit. I'm taking Atlanta. You're
Hmm.
taking Atlanta.
Hmm.
I could see Dallas winning this game. I'm not going to lie.
Man,
I actually flip flopped a little bit on this one, but they have to show me something before I can pick them. I mean, that's what
100%.
it comes down to.
100%. I
I just
really
haven't
thought
seen
this
anything.
last game against the Niners was going to be it. And God, dude, Dak
I
Prescott got the
mean,
bag and said, "I'm done." Like holy
they're going to have to walk into Cousins' trap to take over his trap, bro.
dude, come on, come on.
But we'll see what happens.
Oh man,
Buffalo, Miami. Give me Buffalo
Buffalo all day. Yeah,
all day. All day. Miami looks horrendous right now, even
even
with
with
Tua
Tua.
back. Cincinnati, Las Vegas. The mid Cincinnati team. You can give me them.
I took the Bengals too, but I'll be honest with you. I could see the Raiders beating them. The Bengals are not good. That O line is so bad. Like it is horrendous. The one dude though, he's like death and taxes. That's Jamar Chase getting in the end zone, dude. That guy is so good.
Beast.
Ridiculous. I
Beast.
know you love
But
him.
Cincinnati also didn't have T. Higgins last week.
True.
So we'll see if he's back with that from that quad. That should help.
Yeah.
I think he will be, which I think will help them. So, um, Cleveland Chargers.
Chargers.
You just told everyone don't touch Cleveland. So I'm going to not take your word for it. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns
Okay. All right. I love that.
just to give us a little bit of difference. And to be honest with you, it's not because of Jameis Winston at all. I actually had trouble with this one for that reason because I was like, Jameis Winston does do this every time, and that makes me nervous. But they had 29 points last week, and Chubb didn't see the end zone, which not only pissed me off because he's on my fantasy team, but just how. So I think Chubb's in for at least a touchdown, if not two, this week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Cleveland on this one. Plus, we need some differences.
That game might be just a good old fashioned ground and pound type game. Jim Harbaugh and Nick Chubb just duking it out. You know what I mean? Little J.K. Dobbins. It's gonna be a good physical football game.
Oh yeah, dude. I hope it is. I hope it is. I would just hand the ball off and see what Chubb can do.
Yeah.
Tennessee, New England. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Games are so bad. I took the Patriots.
Dude,
I took
me too. Yes.
I hate
this is the first time I've taken the Pats all year.
Oh
by the way,
God. These games, man, they're just man.
They're gonna be close ones this week. I mean, you look down the spreads, and there's really only two that are large.
Yeah,
and that's Baltimore.
Yeah,
and Philly. At the end of the day, so
Cincy's 7.5,
and Buffalo. Sorry. Oh, and Cincy's at 7. Okay, so I guess there's a couple.
There's a couple, but
it's Kansas
also
City's
wild
at 9
that
on
it's
Monday.
week
Okay,
9. I feel like we just
I'm
started
wrong.
the season, and now it's fucking week 9. I'm like, God dang it, dude. Soon Mark
Dude, it goes
Madness is gonna
fast.
be here. We're gonna be talking UConn hoops again. God, just the money.
You're talking Alabama hoops
the
again.
money printers of money printers. Come on.
Let me roll tie with Bama this year, and if they can't do it in football,
back,
maybe
dude.
basketball.
They look good. They should be good.
Well, we need something.
Washington,
New York.
Oh,
Give me the Commanders this week over New York.
All day.
Have to. Daniel Jones for another pick, probably.
Yep.
Saints, Carolina. I went with the Saints.
I went with the Panthers.
Ooh, little different.
I think Derek Carr is coming back this week, but I'm going to regret this pick. I already know it. That's an L.
And Carolina is sticking with Bryce Young despite Andy Dalton being healthy, I saw.
Something's got to give. It's going to be the weird upset of the week. And they don't have Deontay Johnson.
You think it's going to be a little Halloween?
Of course, I literally made that pick, and then like 20 minutes later, the news went through that he went to the Ravens, and I was like, I'm going to keep it. And now I'm like, God damn it. But we're going to ride with the gut.
You already said it, so it's locked in.
Yep, it's locked in, baby.
You don't know the code. Can't unlock it. Uh,
Threw away the key.
we got Philly. Philly. Don't have the key to the master lock. Philly, Jacksonville. I mean,
Philly.
you got to take Philly,
Come
dude.
on.
Jacksonville
Come on.
lost both, one, if not both, of their top wide receivers, and they weren't good before that.
I can't believe Doug Peterson still has a job. I'll be honest with you. I would have figured by now Khan would have
I don't
fired
think
him.
he will for long, to
No,
be honest.
he won't. I mean, it's not like he's going to have a job going into next year, at least with them. But man,
Yeah, bad,
anyway,
bad. It's bad. Arizona, Chicago.
I took the Cardinals. Yep.
Same.
Yep.
Same. We talked about it. I think Chicago's got. They might still be feeling the effects of last week too. So we're gonna see what happens there. I think you got to take Detroit over Green Bay
Yep.
right now. We talked about it.
Yep.
It's Green Bay. We got to see even who plays for them. Plus Detroit is on a tear. Los Angeles, Seattle. We both I think want LA. Seattle can't trust them.
Can't trust them.
Can't trust them.
Can't trust them. They're fugazi.
Fugazi. Indianapolis Colts with your boy or Minnesota Vikings without Joe Flacco because he's on the other side of the ball.
I took Joe Flacco.
I took the Minnesota
Yes,
Vikings.
thank God.
Let's go.
Let's go Colts. I saw Flacco was starting. I was like, give me the boy, dude.
I almost did, and you could see it. I showed you this last week. I had a little cross out.
Yep.
Little cross out on the Colts.
Yep.
Went with them. But I had to do it. I had to do it. And I think we're both probably going to take Kansas City.
Yeah.
In Monday night because let's be honest, Tampa Bay with their wide receiving core is brutal right now, which means we have 4 games, which means we need a tiebreaker, my man. So let's do this for the tiebreaker. Our first big tiebreaker. Let's pick a game. Let's pick Baltimore, Denver. Because I just know you're going to be watching intently in that game. So for our tiebreaker, let's pick first touchdown. Should we pick first touchdown?
Who scores it?
Yeah.
I'm down.
I'm going to
That's
go.
fun. That's super fun.
I'm going to take the most common probably and take my boy Derrick Henry from Bama, Roll Tide, to get in the end zone first. So give me the Ravens, Derrick Henry.
Can I
now, if you wanted to pick the
on
same
Ravens,
person, we can go to a different game.
Can I pick someone on the Ravens? Is that acceptable, or does it have to be a Broncos?
Oh yeah, no, you can pick. Yeah, pick whoever
I'm
you
gonna
want.
go. Is Bateman still around? Is he alive?
He's still around.
Oh no,
Yes,
I'm
he
taking
is.
Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is on the up and up, and I'm really pissed because I bought into his first 4-week just garbage fire of a season and dropped him in a league, and now of course he's catching a touchdown each week, and I'm like, it's what I get. But give me Mark Andrews.
I got
Give me Mark Andrews.
I got Mark Andrews on my fantasy team, and right now I have him starting. But you know who else I have on my fantasy team who's back this week, which is another reason why I took Minnesota. TJ
Yep.
Hawkinson.
Yep. Hockey.
So we are.
I
got 2 to pick from. Might even throw one in flex.
I was wondering, are you going to play the little tight end and then put the other one in the flex? It could be a move.
Right. We might. It could be a move. I looked at it, but my flex is looking pretty good right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But do we need to have one extra tiebreaker in case neither one of those guys is one? Maybe we pick a close an over under. One of us takes the over. One of us takes the under.
That's what I was thinking. I think we take the over under for that Pats Titans game because it's just gonna be nobody knows what's gonna go on with that game. You know what I mean? And the over under is
37.5.
37.5. I'll let you pick first.
I'm gonna let you take it. I'm gonna let you take it,
dude. Give me the over.
You take what you want.
You're
gonna take the over.
Burner.
All right. So I'll take the under. This will be our second tiebreaker. So if Derrick Henry or Mark Andrews scores first, we don't go to this.
Yeah.
This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if neither one of them is the first scorer of that game, we go to the over under of New England, Tennessee, just to make sure. That's only if we end up in a tie in our other 4. So we'll be good. We'll be good. We'll make sure that we don't tie this week. So that brings us to the final portion of the show, the player props, to put more money in the hands of all of our adoring fans and listeners. Who do you got for your player props week 9 NFL?
Well, I didn't have the odds for it yesterday because you'd think that Vegas loves taking people's money, and the easiest way for them to take people's money is to give them lines as early as they can. But my first line, and I'm looking it up right now because I want to give people the odds for it, is Mark Andrews anytime touchdown. He has a touchdown in the last 3 straight weeks. So as you know, I love riding the hot hand, and we all know who
You
Mark
do love
Andrews
the hot
is.
hand.
We all know who Mark Andrews is for Lamar Jackson, and that's his favorite target. I don't care what Zay Flowers has to say. They've been around together much longer than him and Zay, and I love Mark Andrews to get in the end zone. I'm just trying to find the odds for it. It should be around plus 130 would be my guess, but we will see. I don't even think they still have it, which is a freaking joke. They don't. Anyway, I would say it's probably around plus 130 to 150, whatever it is. Take it. He's gonna score, especially against the Broncos. Obviously, we have a great linebacker core and a good secondary, but Mark Andrews is their big target in the red zone, and I think the Ravens will be in the red zone more often than not come Sunday. My next one is Bijan Robinson over 66 and a half rushing yards versus the Cowboys. Another constant.
You're playing a very bad
Yeah,
Cowboys
I
rushing
was I literally
defense.
was about to say the one constant with the Cowboys is one they suck, and the thing they suck at the most is stopping the run. So they
And I don't know if Micah Parsons is going to be
I
back
don't
yet
even if
this
he
week.
is, it doesn't matter in my eyes. They are so bad, and they're just in the worst spot in the world. I did see that you saw Trayvon Diggs tell that reporter to get D's nuts. They made it up, and he brought him a can of D's nuts, which is I thought was pretty freaking hilarious. So I'm glad that Trayvon Diggs is a good sport. And realizes when he's in the wrong and makes up for it, because I thought that was awesome. And if you haven't seen it, go on Twitter because it is they bang a can of nuts together in the post game or the post practice interview, and it is peak TV. But anyway, give me Bijan over 66 and a half rushing yards versus the Cowboys. He averages 87 rushing yards a game this year. The Dallas Rush D ranks 31 out of 32, and they allow 154.6 rushing yards per game this year. Of course, I think it was week 3 or 4 when they were playing prime time. I told you to take, I forget who it was. I told you to take whoever they was playing running back. He was going to have a big game. He didn't. But that's like the one game all year that they've actually had a stout run defense. So give me Bijan over 66 and a half. I think that's as close to free money as you can get, in my opinion. So, yeah. And then my next one, you'll see a little trend for the player props this week. I found a lot of good running back props that I really like. The next one is DeAndre Swift over 62 and a half rushing yards. The Cardinals allow the fourth most yards per play to dual threat running backs. We all know that DeAndre Swift loves to catch the ball out of the backfield as well, but I love his rushing yards because he has the fifth most rushing yards in the NFL, and Swift averages 97 yards per game over the last 4 games. He's been churning his legs. That's a big reason why the Bears have kind of turned it around this year. And I love Swift to go over 62 and a half against the Cardinals defense that has as well a tough time stopping the run. And my final player prop for you guys, another running back, arguably probably one of the best running backs in the league besides Derrick Henry. Kyron Williams over 76 and a half rushing yards against the Seahawks. The Seahawks allow the most rushing yards per game in the NFL. Over a 5 game span, Kyron is averaging 92 rushing yards per game. He's another reason why the Rams are relevant this year and why that offense continues to do what they're doing. I think it'll only get better. Of course, my buddies are trying to call me because they know I got all the locks, so I'm sorry about that. But I think he will only continue to keep rolling. I have no problem with 76 and a half. It is the highest out of all three, at least of the running back props, but I think he will continue to do what he's doing all year and tear up a Seahawks rush defense that has just been abysmal all season.
There you have it, dude. The player props. Get on the running backs this week. If last week was tight ends day, Willie P's got it as RB day this Sunday.
RB week, come on.
So get those RB week, get those locks in. That's it, dude. What a show.
That was a quick. I
All
don't
I
know why
mean,
it felt like we
bets
zipped through that
bets
stuff.
galore.
Yeah.
Bets galore and some great takes for each of us on the pick'ems. I got a little iffy one with Cleveland. You got a little iffy one with Carolina. This could be fun. Excited to see where it takes us. Um, so make sure you guys follow this, see how we're doing, and take the bets. Put some money in your pocket. Definitely check out thepredictors.com for more information on injuries, updates, and everything else. Get on our newsletter so you can get more bets from the man himself, Willie P, plus our algorithm every week. And then, meet us back here next week
Yeah.
for another episode of the Frisky Risky Betting and Fantasy Podcast. We just want to help you out, and follow us on socials for even more and NBA picks from the man himself as well. So
Yeah.
we will see you back here next week for another episode.